Ricky, have you applied for any positions?
I have. I've applied at 3 places.
And callbacks, interviews?
I just had an interview on Thursday.
Okay. Okay, perfect. How do you have a second interview scheduled, or where are you at in that process?
I don't have a second interview scheduled at this point yet.
Okay.
So yeah, I know that they interviewed on Thursday, took Friday off, and he's back at work today. So I'm in the waiting portion right now.
Group interview or individual interview, like on Zoom or in a parking lot?
Individual, in person.
Okay, cool. Okay. If you need help prepping for that second interview, then reach out. That's services that we provide. We're more than happy to help. Anything that we can do to help you guys. So thank you for sharing that information, guys. And I'm super guilty of this, where I start talking about cannabis and business and all the things going on, and I'll just talk until the cows come home. But we're burning the clock, so we're just gonna just drive right through everything. So we have a ton to get through, and I'm gonna be honest, I think that you got shortchanged because of my technological mess up. So we've lost about 15 minutes. And so I'm gonna send you, after I figure out how to make this thing work properly, I'm gonna send you another invite. We can do it as a group or we can do it individually, and we can play catch up on what we're missing here. Sound good to everybody?
Sounds great.
Okay, perfect. All right, Mom, drive forward. Let's just get as far as we can. So don't rush. Let's just get as far as we can today, okay?
All right.
Perfect.
I just have 2 comments to make before we go further. Melissa, do you remember when you go to a pharmacy, there's a consulting booth? Have you ever thought about trying to do a niche in a provision center as a consulting booth? And Ricky, I did not hear what you were trying, or you had your interview in. Was it a grow?
A provision center.
Provision center.
He's hiring, or in the process of adding staff, I think, in the next few months as bud tenders.
Okay, thank you. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and we're going to keep moving on like we said. The next section, I don't know if you can do this on your devices or not. So you don't have your homework, or if you did homework, can you open up the application worksheet?
Yes, ma'am, I have that.
And good, open that up. All 3 of you, whoever can get it open it. And we're going to go through this right now, the application worksheet. If you can see, if you don't have the homework, you can see on my screen, and we'll go through each section just so that you know what's there. Personal information is first, and let's give you a little background on this sheet. I have been working in the HR field, training and doing resumes for about 35 years. 10 of these years, I was working with disabled adults and with graduates who I would ask, or I would help them with their resumes like we're doing for you, but they didn't have any information when they came to me. So when I was asking them questions for things we need to put in their resume, they had no clue. So I just got paper resumes, and I went on the internet and I created this form. So if you find somebody that doesn't have it and you feel like sharing it, please go ahead and do so. It's not confidential in any form. First thing is your address. This is also called your personal information, and on your resume, it would be your header. And in the past, because most people ask for your last 3 residences. Then there's your driver's history, and that is not on your resume.
Hey, Mom, you are not screen sharing right now, just so you know.
Sorry about that. Sorry about that. I clicked it. Let's try this again. Screen share. Can you see now?
Yes, ma'am.
Good. Sorry about that. All right. We're down to availability status. If you want, we'll go back up to the top. Addresses, personal information, driver's history, hours availability, and only put the hours that you really want on there because they're going to call you on it. A shift, total hours a week, and will you work overtime? Education, you're going to start with your highest degree and work backwards. And if you've just taken classes that are relevant to what you're trying to go into, then you would list those classes.
Now, do you think we should, okay, so like I have a couple, I heard somebody else say it too, but like I'm ServSafe certified and on the bar as a bar manager, I'm ServSafe as a general manager. I am currently about to get my master's cannabis university certificate. It was for like bud tending that I took out of like Colorado and California together. So do you think those would go under skills, or should I put those under like education, or should they start to be combined together on the resume?
Hang tight, I'll show you where they go. Next one is work history. With work history, there are rules. You go back from your most present or your most current work history, and you go back 5 jobs or 10 years. So everybody got that? Okay, 5 jobs, 10 years, starting with your current or your most current work history. And you can see where I've put in the information that will be asked on a resume, on an application. And I've also gone ahead and given a very detailed description of what I did there. You're going to use that to put over in your resume. Down farther are transferable skills, office skills. I have office, computer programs, customer service would be good for you, Melissa, cashier. Mike, you could put in there some of your mechanical skills. Ricky, you could put in there some of your dispensary knowledge. Volunteer experiences, if you have any. People like to see that because it shows that you have community involvement. And then right there is where you want to be, Melissa, underneath certificates or certifications. There's where you're going to put everything you have. Mike, you'll put yours there too. And Ricky, if you have any, it'll go there also.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, the one thing that always trips everybody up when it comes to doing an application is your references. So I've given you a spot to do 3 professional. Those are people that you work with, and 3 personal. Those are people you know. Make them so you know them at least a year, 2 years if you can get that. And that's the application worksheet. So we're going to do right now, I'm going to stop screening this. I want you to open a blank document.
Okay.
Okay, all 3 of you have the blank document open?
I have a piece of paper.
Me too.
Piece of paper work too. Gotcha. All right, for this blank document for Ricky, you have it open.
Yes,
I
ma'am.
want you to immediately go up and change your margins to 0.5.
Okay.
Then I want you to go to File, Save As, and I would put it on your desktop. Call it In-Class Resume.
What would you like to call it?
In-Class Resume.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. I'm going to show you and we'll show you what you need to put on this piece of paper that you're doing or on your desktop. On that blank document, sorry. Put your name first and then follow it right down, typing them in. And I would do them in capital letters so you can see the difference when you start popping information in. Let me know when you're done.
So while we're waiting,
Yeah.
I figured out why we can't see Mike, Melissa, and Ricky. We're in a webinar, and webinars, that's not how these things work. So I set this up in the wrong format. I should have just set it up as a regular Zoom, and then everything would have been fine. But I did it as a webinar, and so there's nothing that I could do. Okay, so it's a simple fix. I just have to change the meeting going forward.
Okay. I'm ready when
Okay.
you are.
All right, everybody is ready?
Yeah.
All right, now we are going to go into the experience section because I'm not going to have you type in your, well, you can, Ricky, if you want to, while we're talking, you can type in your address and your phone number and your email or your LinkedIn account. Those are things you'll put underneath your name. Objective, we're going to do that last. Skills, we're going to do that. Skills and experience are going into that. Work history, you can copy and paste that once you get to your resume into a blank document. Same thing with education. Please remember our thing is 5 jobs, 10 years. And education, your highest and then your lowest. Same thing with license and award. So I'm going to bring this down so that you can see that. Stop the sharing and we're going to do something. And I'm going to do something. Give me a minute here.
Mhm.
Okay, that's not Howard. My cat likes to get in where I'm at too and meow and beg for attention. So I just like, nah. Usually I would be the one that would be guilty of that.
She's mad because the camera's not on. She's a ham. She wants all
Oh.
this. Yeah.
Well, Howard just wants attention. All right, we on one side of your screen, or on the screen here, you can see grow skills. Now, I understand that there's going to be someone going into provision, Melissa, you're going to provision, and the other two are really looking at going into maybe another provision and the grow. So here is some grow things because that's what I know best. And the person who say on his resume, he was going to grow, so he made it for him. This would be in your experience and skill section is what this grow skill is all about. It's just a brainstorming session. And that's what I want you to do now is to brainstorm some skills that you know that would actually go for the job that you're trying to apply for. Now, if you got the homework, I have given you the 5 facility skills list and you can use that. Or a job description is a good place to get skills from. Also a past resume and just thinking about what you do when you're actually performing the job and just take it from the beginning of the day to the end of the day and everything that you do in between. And that could be part of your skills section. So, and we put his in order so that you could see that when it came to design and development, everything about designing or development is in that area. Same thing we did with, and you can see we brainstorm a lot. Seeds, cuttings, we did it all. Took it just from the the beginning of a grow all the way to the end. So while you're writing your skills list, think of where you would put them in a category and see if you can put them in a category. So let's take a few minutes. You can open up a Word document on your devices, or you can continue writing, but write a skills list out. Shout out if you need help. Just take a few minutes and do one real quick.
And so it's any pertainable skill to the job that you want, because you make the resume for the job that you want. And so, Mike, I think it would be good to think about, I think my mom hit on something that really lines up with your skills and your background in maintenance and fixing things and problem solving. We've done the idea of catching the runoff from the dehumidifiers. Yeah, that's brilliant. And a lot of people don't think about stuff like that. So you have the mind to work in maintenance and taking care of a facility. So think about all the skills that you have and just brainstorm them, just throw them down on paper.
Okay.
And the same thing for you, Melissa. The fact that the similarities between working in restaurants and bars, the parallels are, I mean, they're akin, they're kindred spirits for sure. It's the same thing, it's just a different product. And so a lot of the things that you did, managing a restaurant, managing a bar, sales will directly translate. And this is something that you don't have to do the whole thing right now, today, this second. It's something that as you think of something, you just add it onto your document, just grow the list.
Mike, I want to go back to you for just a minute because yours is so specialized, or had the opportunity to be so specialized. You said you wanted to do growing or master growing or assistant master grower, and everything you've done is hands-on. And if you're a grower or a master grower or assistant master grower, excuse me, you will not get hands-on. You will not be working on those machines or systems that you have knowledge in and skills in. You'll be handing it off to your maintenance supervisor.
Okay. Yeah.
And Melissa,
Yeah,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I pretty much want to give the appearance to whoever the HR person that reads my resume is, that I'm pretty much can be placed anywhere that they're needed for now, until maybe one day that, I'll realize that I can manage a facility, or, manage. I have management skills as well. I'm also ServSafe certified. I used to have a restaurant, so I am just like Melissa. I'm also ServSafe certified.
So Mike, that's a really good point. And
and I think that one of the reasons why we both were, because she said, your mother had said earlier, that cleanliness on these resumes seemed to play a big part. Like, people wanted to know that the facilities, wherever, were going to be kept clean. So when you're ServSafe certified, you're actually using products that, of course, are eating,
Yeah. And showing compliance is a big part of it. And
because that's what I feel like I'm struggling with the most. So every time somebody is the law, how do we go about finding the, okay, so let me think how I can say this, how it gets questioned. So if you work in a dispensary or a bud tender, and let's say I spend a lot of time working with 20-year-olds and running them in the bar business, and they say, Miss, how do I become a bud tender? We're at that step past the resume. How do you develop these skills? Because they want to know, do you know how much to sell? Do you know how, and there's this, as we move into recreation, I think is a big part for me. This is where I'm struggling the most, is because we are really watching everything move from where the resumes require these almost medical people that have been in it since the medical movement.
Let me jump in here, Melissa. Let me just point you out a couple things. Okay, so getting familiar with point of sale systems, which point of sale systems are, it sounds like you've got enough experience with them that you understand them, that you take to them.
Right.
And so write this down. There's or you know what, I think I can drop a link. I'll drop a link to a company called Metric. And Ricky, this would be good for you too. It's
All of them.
It's the compliance. It's METRC. Okay. Now there are not a lot of resources that that I can give to you for Metric. They will not allow any third parties to access their systems, but through them, they do offer trainings. So I would click on that link. If you look in your chat box, I just sent the link. I would
Okay.
go and watch every video you can from Metric.
Right.
And then I would go watch every YouTube video. I would listen to every podcast. I would just scour the internet.
So would this be something, okay, so great. Would this be something similar to a ServSafe? So would Metric put something out so that you could put on your resume, I am Metric, I've taken the course,
okay.
through Metric to be able to do that?
There is no certification
Okay.
at this point, but I will say that the more familiar you are with Metric, the more competitive you're going to be in the job market, because that's a big thing for the employers.
Right.
And so to answer your question, Melissa, the way that you can tell that you're not over-serving is through the point of sale system, is through Metric. So if you're ringing someone up, it'll say, oh, you're over the daily limit for Matt. You need to take a couple things off because he's over his daily limit. And so that will be built into the point of sale system and in Metric. And so for Melissa and Ricky, two things that are going to help you working on the retail side are going to be familiarizing yourself with products. So for those of you guys that have worked in sales, everything that needs to be known about this product is written on the label. And so what you can do is, when you're working, pick up a product and read the label. And then when someone asks you a question, it's not likely that you're going to memorize everything in the store because there's a lot of stuff. But you can hold it up and you can just read the label to people. Also, a way to develop your knowledge is to get feedback from the patients and the customers that come in. So it's just like being a bartender, where you get to know your regulars. So Bill comes in, hey, Bill, how did that OG Kush work for you?
Right.
And then when somebody else comes in, you can say, oh, well, Bill tried, or I had a customer or a patient that tried the OG Kush and it worked well for their insomnia. So
Now, see, for me, a lot of that too is moving into, like I said, I do a lot of edibles. So we do private dinner parties, bon appetit type stuff. We throw, holidays. We get together and make dishes and birthday cakes and things like that. It's harder for us to measure THC. So we have to go by, like we do when you get intoxicated or drinking in a club or a bar.
Yeah.
I have to know when to cut you off, how long a product would last, the difference between dabs, this, that, and the other. But I find that hard to find when people ask me, wow, you have a lot of knowledge about cannabis. Where did you work before? Because I'm not a grower, I am struggling in the networking development of this, because everything seems to be spawning off of the grow operations that have happened right now.
Okay. So part of it is not your issue, in that there's inconsistent labeling. And the labels, they don't say it will take 20 minutes for this gummy to kick in and the gummy will last 45 minutes at this dose. That doesn't exist. So that's just going to come from in the field, firsthand experience. So, but the only way you're going to get that experience is if we get your resume. So let's dive back in. We've got how much time do you have left, Mom? We're at time right now.
How much do we have left? Probably about 10 minutes.
10 minutes? Okay. For those of you that want to stay another 10 minutes and just keep pushing through, you're more than welcome to. If you need to leave now, that's okay. While we're here, I've got Melissa's email. I've got Ryan's email and
Ricky, that'd be Ricky.
Ricky. That is killing me.
Sounds
I'm
right.
sorry, Ricky. Actually, you know what? Ricky, would you, in the chat, would you send me your email, and Mike, would you in the chat send me your email as well? I've got yours, Melissa.
I believe you got my, okay, so just send it again in the chat? Sure.
Yes, please.
Got it. And what is your policy about us networking, the students? And like, for example,
I mean,
Melissa,
that's why
I
I'm here
see,
too.
okay,
Yeah, okay,
you're
so-
into baking. You're into baking. The people that they might have sometimes, you know, extra trim or something that they.
I would join the
I don't
Facebook
know.
group, and I will send you a link to the Facebook group, and you guys are more than happy to network. I would say that in these classes, we're just going to be really focused on getting you guys a resume. So we're just going to be really focused on that. But I'll send you a link to the Facebook. I've got a Discord. You guys are more than welcome to join and network away. That's really good.
No, so Mr. Hoffman, is this course in a sense, or this class, or your program? Is your program toward like all of the employment that comes in the cannabis field?
Yes.
And we just, because I like to learn as we get going, and you're about the only place I've seen so far that actually is out. You're like a micro business of the cannabis, getting people positioned in areas where they're strong. So you remind me of like almost a staffing company for cannabis.
Yeah,
So
but we're not. Yeah, but we're a nonprofit, so this is no cost to you guys, and we're funded by charitable donations. So the classes that we offer you guys are this is just an overview, and the next class that we offer is Mastering Cannabis Resume Workshop, and that's where it'll be a lot more in depth. It'll be multiple sessions, and we will just work with you in a group setting, one-on-one, and take you from a blank page to a totally professional and polished resume, which my mom showed you earlier.
Right.
We have practice interviews for your first interview. We have the second interview, practice interviews, where we, in a group setting again, we just do pretend interviews and give you tips and tricks and strategies on how to interview well. In person, like Ricky did, or over Zoom. The next thing is, some of these positions you may have to negotiate for salary or for benefits or flex time. We can also do the same thing like we did with the mock interviews, is we can walk you through some of the negotiation strategies. And for the growers, if you want to make a portfolio of your verified grow of your work, then we've got a virtual portfolio class that we can work.
Okay, I think maybe that's what I was thinking more along. So like I have a good resume and a portfolio, but I would like to take my restaurant and hospitality portfolio and move it into the cannabis industry as it becomes more available for the use of cannabis too, because I think that cannabis will be controlled like alcohol will be.
Over time, yeah. But your primary focus
So I'm
needs to
building
be
a profile.
Well, your primary focus needs to be a resume, because we have to focus on today, and today, to get a job, you have to have a resume. Okay.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
so-
Oh, absolutely. Yes.
All right. Back
So
to
I
you.
I would like to like figure out how to take the resume and move it into the cannabis. You know, like so it. I don't know. I guess how
It's
they
okay.
move into that.
We'll walk you right through it.
Okay.
That comes a lot with the skills that you're going to put down and where you put them on your resume. So since we're running on time, I'm going to let you finish up your skills on your own. And when you come to the next class, have them ready. And ready.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. What I want to do right now is to show those skills work. I've got two different types of resumes that have to do with skills and also with your experiences, because they're different. And the guidelines for those, before we get into this, is if you put something in your skills section, you cannot repeat it in your section. They have to stay separate. And it's because it, to the employer, it's redundant, just trying to fill up space that you don't have everything that you say you have, because you have to repeat it. So when you're thinking of skills and you're writing them out, think of also, where do you want to use them? In the experience or in the skills? Or do you just want to have one experience section or one skill section? I mean, you can vary these to all different kinds of things. And I'm going to show you these two right now where we can vary them and how we varied them. I can get back. All right, so the first one is Sam's resume that we've been talking about. And with Sam's resume, I'm going to move it up and down slowly, reading his more of an experience layout. So he doesn't have the skill section. We just went with experience. But in his experience section, it kind of looks a little bit like there's some skills in there. Because if you look under cannabis growth experience, you'll see that he started out with sentences. He listed different types of environments and delivery systems and air systems and water systems. He listed those in a paragraph format. He did the same thing for the growth strategy techniques. But when he got down to plant life cycle, that's where he went kind of like a modified skills section. He has the heading, seeds to seedlings, and then he just put down the bullet points again, but he didn't use bullet points. He used it in a paragraph form with one right after the other. So it saved on space, still gives us skills there, but what he was trying to do is to get the employer to ask him more information. What do you mean by soaking a seed? How did you do that? There's several different ways to soak a seed. So it will do is it clues in the employer to ask the questions without using a lot of space on the resume. And he did this all the way down through the life cycle of the plant, all the way down to his related experiences. Now, I said I know him very well. And when he started years and years ago, he didn't have any cannabis experience either, but he was a builder. And when you're building your own facility, those building skills become very important. So we put that as related experiences instead of work history. And we check out everything on the work history as far as the employer's name and all that stuff. It's going to be on the application. It doesn't need to be on the resume, and just put down what he did. He also had EMT classes, and that's where it'd be very good for you to put your certifications that you've got in there on their resume, because EMT classes have to do with safety, and every single facility or center has to have the safety program. So he's got some safety knowledge already under his belt, so he highlighted that also. And then the education, there's where he said he just took his classes. Like you're saying you did the cannabis, the marijuana facilities, workshops and classes from out in Colorado. That's where you would put those underneath your diplomas and your degrees. And list them as far as, don't worry about so much about when you took them, but worry about what's most important in your mind. Is the huge overview, or is the metrics, or is the processing one? Which is the most important? Which one do you want to emphasize first? Put that one right after your degrees or diplomas. So there's one layout that you've already seen it that you can do. And it also, with this one, it gave him the different types of skills that he had. It put them into order, and it also made them so each one was separate from another, from another, from another. So it broke them apart and made them easier to read. The other one on Paul's resume is more of a skills one where we actually use bullet points. And he chose in his resume to use bullet points all the way through. He didn't do the experience section because he made it underneath the bullet points. He did what the topic was about that he had the bullet points for, and then he bullet pointed. This right here is a table, just a 2-column table. I went up here under insert, and I said table, and I highlighted 2 squares. And then when I was done, I took, and I actually then, gotta go to home, and I took the borders out. Otherwise, you will drive yourself crazy trying to get these things lined up because they will move every time you try to add something. It'll move. By putting tables in them, it puts your columns stats. Actually makes them stabilized. So he did this all the way down. He put in his statement of what the section is about, and then he listed his section. Interview section, all the way down to the management and practicality. This is where he flipped it to experiences, and the experiences, and he did it just so that the layout looked different. The whole entire resume didn't look like bullet points. It broke it up, and he put it in a paragraph form. He had volunteer. He worked at the Cannabis Cup, and then a work overview and the education. And if you look at also with this, maybe for one of our last things is we changed our titles. We didn't put in objective. We didn't put in skills, experiences. We made it more groomed to where it was what you were trying to say in that actual section. Like associated cannabis wisdom with his provision center in his kitchen. Melissa, you could do something like that. So could you, Mike, with your mechanical and stuff and things. And if he goes to, and don't think you're locked into one resume. I'm talking to you mainly, Mike, because you've got your mechanical stuff and then you've got your grow stuff. Make 2 resumes. Have something about your grow and your mechanical, but highlight your mechanical, and then have something, do your grow and highlight your grow, and have something about your mechanical. And then when you send them out to the places, send the one for the job you're looking for. Same thing with you, Melissa. You've got great kitchen experience. You could go into a processing center. So 2 resumes, one for your bud tending that you want, your site manager, and one for the processing center.
In the same, for the same company?
2 resumes. No, you apply the job, not the company, the job. If let's say XYZ Corporation has a provisioning center and they have a processing center, and there are 2 different jobs open, post to both of them, but use the resume that fits it.
And send it to the same HR person?
You will, but you'll be sending it underneath that job description title.
So it's okay if they see us, they wouldn't see it negatively if we send 2 different resumes?
No, it's 2 different jobs.
Okay.
Now, is a provision center the same as a dispensary and a processing center the same as a product making facility?
Yes, what I'm using are the LAR terms.
Okay.
So get familiar with those LAR terms.
That's right. That's what I need to know. Okay. Lara, and then there's the
metrics.
The metrics. That's right. I got it written down here.
I have done a lot of stuff with that metrics center, trying to get information out of it and trying to see if I can learn how it's set up.
Right.
And all you can do is go into Lara, they'll have metrics, and you can click on that metrics and it'll tell you about the tags. It'll tell you about the batch process. It will tell you about how the label is supposed to look, but it will not tell you how to put it in and input it in the system and output of the system.
Okay.
So that's what you have to be. You have to actually be hired by somebody to get that information.
Right.
And I think Matt wants to add something into it. Matt, do you want to add something?
Yeah, so can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, weird. Okay, so we're at the point where we're gonna have to stop and move on to our next meetings. If you guys need more help then I've got your emails, and let's get a time to set another class and go through this. I'm going to send Melissa and Mike, I'm going to send you the email packets, and just send me a confirmation just saying, yes, I got it. Yes, it's open. It may be an issue because one of you is on a Android, one of you is on a iPad, so maybe there's something going on there. So I'll look into that and send it over Monday. And then if you guys need more help, then we'll make a proper Zoom room where we can see your screen, we can see you. And so it'll be more interactive. So going forward, it would be good for the next class, if you guys are interested, for the next class going forward, your homework is to take some of the things that we learned from this class, and I'll send you a YouTube link so you can rewatch this and start assembling, do your homework, your, what's that worksheet called, Mom? The application worksheet. And then start assembling your resume and plan on the next class screen sharing that with the class. And then you can get feedback from my mom, and she'll say, oh, maybe tweak this or move this, or we'll actually go through and look at your resume and start making it look professional. Sound good, guys?
Sounds good.
Sounds good.
Okay. All right. Then time flies. Holy crap.
Right.
How do you guys feel? Where are we going too fast? Are we too slow? Like, what's the general feeling that you're getting from the class?
Let me start, if I may.
Yes.
I'll say I've just been through several weeks of a workforce development class, and so resume building was a portion of that. And everything that you're covering here is exactly right. You know, insofar as how to make the resume look good, what information to put in it, how to design your resume for each job. Even though you do have one general bulky resume, you take that, streamline it, and make it individual to fit the specific job at the specific place. So everything is right. I'm in a position where I have a lot of information. I have a pretty good built resume. It is not cannabis oriented as fine-tuned as this is by any means, but it is together. And so I've got that information. And I think the hard thing is that for myself, and probably the hard thing for others, is actually when you say list your skills. Well, that's really where you have to start. So what I do and what I suggest is like list everything. Don't be, put everything down that you can think of. I carried water, I chopped wood, I fed the horses, whatever it was, put all that stuff down there. And then when we come to create a nice professional resume, we'll be able to pick through those things, go, oh yeah, well, that makes sense. And for a grower or a bud tender or whatever job you're applying for, it'll help if you have that information kind of built. But it is difficult when you just say, what list your skills. So I think that going to the skills list for the specific, like the grow facility skills list, the provision center skills list, safety compliance, the skills list that you sent out in the links for. So just looking at those particular documents, all the words are there. So if you say that you want to work in a grow facility, then you did a great job of listing the jobs that are available in a grow facility, what the skill sets are, what your transferable skills, all that information is in that package. So let's do this again. Good job.
Yeah,
I'm ready to put one
and
together.
we're more than happy, and that was part of the lesson plan, is to be able to see your guys' resume and then talk about, oh, does this skill apply? Like, I can do X, Y, and Z, but how do I translate it into a cannabis thing? So you hit it right on the pin, and that's something that we'll do in the next class. Mike,
Cool.
what can we do to help you, Mike? How do you feel about the class?
I really feel good about it. I'd like you to see me. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, right.
Yes.
Maybe next time.
Next time we will, for sure. Yes.
I want to thank you for your efforts to helping people, Mrs. Hoffman and Matt.
Thank you, Beth.
for
Thank you, Matt.
doing that. Appreciate it. Everything went good, despite a little technical difficulties. No problem. So you'll be seeing me again, I hope.
And does this time work? What times? Because I'm just going to keep this cohort of just you three. Is
Okay.
there a
Well, this
time
one-
that works better for you guys, or is this a good
Yeah.
time?
I had to take today off so I could do this. So this probably won't be a great time for me.
Okay.
Not on an all the time basis, you know what I
Okay.
mean?
Okay.
Yes.
Pretty much for me, I'm open to any time as long as I know a couple of days ahead of time at least, or a week
Okay.
would be great.
Same here.
Melissa.
Same for me.
Work around.
1 o'clock in the
my
afternoon is a
schedule.
good time too.
What about weekdays, Melissa? Is there a weekday?
Yeah,
that-
like Mondays and Tuesdays, anytime. In fact, anytime in the evening, except for weekends, I'm just a bar manager. So I'm usually there from 11 to midnight at least. And so the weekends don't work for me, but weekdays, other than I work mostly day shift during the week, but I have Mondays and Tuesdays off.
Okay.
I don't know if, I don't know how everybody
Okay.
else's schedule is. I have one of them
Okay.
weird schedules. I never fit in. So I have to
Okay.
like rearrange my life.
It'll most likely be a Monday or Tuesday, around 1 or 2 o'clock. But
Perfect.
I don't want to put my foot in my mouth. If I start talking without looking at my calendar, I'm gonna double book. So we're gonna take a few days, and then I'm gonna send everybody a invite for a Monday or Tuesday in the afternoon, and let's plan on doing that. Not this upcoming week, but the week of the 15th. So we'll do a Monday or Tuesday the week of the 15th.
Perfect.
So that'll give us time to get our technological house in order. Is there anything, are you lost? Are you feeling behind? How are you feeling, Melissa?
Oh, I'm very thankful. I actually really take in the research and the knowledge as, cannabis becomes legal and recreationally legal for my way. And so I understand this is all new to everybody. So I really, really appreciate the fact that you offer up this type of almost networking for people wanting to get jobs in the cannabis business as it becomes legalized.
Yeah, and we've been in cannabis for 11 years. We've owned a grow, and mom actually won those championship trophies over there for growing 3 times in a
Yeah,
row.
I love that.
And so
absolutely. I mean,
we're here to help you guys and just share as much knowledge as we can and get you working in the cannabis field. So I'm going to leave it there. Thank you for your time. Thanks for working through it with us. We really appreciate it. You guys are awesome. And the fact that it's a beautiful Saturday and you guys are here committed and chasing down your cannabis careers, I just think you're rock stars, and I will do anything that I can do to help you. And that includes, and I do this for all the people that we work with. I'm more than happy to do it for you, but letters of recommendations or calls to business owners. If there's a company that you want to work at, tell me, and I'll go and behind the scenes, and I'll go and I'll talk to them. That's.
I think I heard that you had a good and you're on. I feel like I heard you on a podcast too.
I do, and yeah, that's the Weed Works Blunt Talk About Working in Marijuana podcast.
Yeah,
So
I feel like that's how
wherever you
I
get your
found
podcasts.
you, was digging through podcasts is how I think I
Yep.
came upon you.
Perfect. Okay,
What's your podcast, Matt?
Weed Works Blunt Talk About Working in Marijuana podcast, and I will send a link real quick.
Okay,
Do
great.
that.
Yeah. All right.
Closing
Well,
thoughts, Bomb, and then we're out of here.
All right, guy. And I'm sorry to interrupt you, Matt, but you're also going to send us a link to the information on the metric.
I already did in the chat.
Thank you so
Yep.
much.
Also,
Closing thoughts, Bomb.
Matt,
Yeah, go ahead.
also, if you know people who could use our skills as far as the resumes and everything, point them to us also.
Sure.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
we'll be more than happy to help anyone you send to us.
Nice.
Very good.
I'm sending a whole bunch to you.
Great. I can't wait.
I got everybody lined up ready to figure this out.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful.
Okay, thanks, guys. Enjoy your.
Thank you.
enjoy
Bye,
your
everyone.
weather,
Thank
and have a
you.
great day.
Bye-bye.
We'll be in touch. Bye-bye.
Bye, Matt. My bad. Thank you, guys.
You're
You
welcome.
betcha. Bye.